Hello everyone, Mr. Happy Zap here. Once again, update my humble abode. This is probably take 4 of this video. Every time get almost halfway through, something happens. Hopefully nothing happens this time. Anywho, bucking out, casing out, boxing out, I don't know what they call it, of my windows to get ready for drywall. Now, under normal circumstances, you have your traditional 2x6 walls. The manufacturers already know that, they ask, do you have the 1-inch of foam on the outside, so they can build a casing out, wood casing out, so that it comes flush with your, not flush, but it sticks a 1/2 inch out past your actual studding. And I'm using this piece of 1/2 inch plywood as a template, and so that normally it'll come out this far. Everything works pretty much perfect because that's how they have housings designed. For most of it is for standard construction, which probably 95% of the homes out there are standard construction, standard outside wall construction, and the other 10% are non-traditional. And of course, I have a non-traditional type of wall system. So what I had to do, instead of being able to get the actual casement already in place, and usually it's only 1/2 inch, I just had it ordered. My windows ordered was what they call a drywall return. Now this drywall return here, 3/4 inch thick drywall return, and also you can see here there's a bit of a step out in the bottom, so it allows you to either put in 1/2 inch material or 3/4 inch material. Now, of course, I went with 3/4 inch material because that will allow a more meat when you actually nail your trim on. And traditionally, you just use a flat edge like this and insert it into the groove. But I looked at that and I went, there's not a lot of play in there, and in case I have to, have some in and out to adjust it, because nothing's a perfect world. One side, the other, top and bottom, you might have to, like this, a bottom, top, kind of deal, whatever. So what I did to, that's a good quarter, that little step out, it's a good 1/4 of an inch. So I had my guys that milled my wood, and I'm using poplar. I'm using poplar for my casings. And they put a groove in here, which allowed me to have that much more play. Now, of course, that costs a little more money, but I think it's worth the extra cost. It actually fits a lot tighter. I feel it does fit because it's right now in there, and it works really well. So, these little things that you have to look at. Now, I have all my casements done. Some are painted, some are already painted and installed. And what I did is I just took the measurement from the bottom edge here to the top edge, and which is this length here. Okay, measured that, and I added 1/8 of an inch, and I'll show you the reason why that, just a bit. And I put that in, and then I just measured the inside from here to there, like outside to outside of this inside part of the edge. And I added about 1/8 of an inch too, so, and then I just butt jointed them together. I used my brad nailer. This one here I have to just kind of knock in a little bit more because it didn't quite go all the way in. So, and as you can see here, the grooves all the way around, and you put it together, and then it's kind of like a press fit, and it fits in really well. And then from there, I take them out, and what it is, I paint them. Now you should, because I use poplar and really any kind of wood, you should use a sealer type of paint. For reason being is, and I have a very good friend of mine who built my kitchen cabinets, who's very knowledgeable in wood and what wood does. And this is the rudimentary part. Wood will try and find a balance between both sides and edges and everything. That's why a lot of times you see the edges when you see blanks and whatnot. They have the ends painted. They're also painted for different colors for different grades, widths, and whatnot, but also seals the ends so moisture can't gravitate down through and expand the wood. Just look what happens with plywood or whatever. You get inside the laminations, and it'll spread open. So what you want to do, if you only paint one side, wood, no matter how dry it is, it's going to want to absorb moisture, and it wants to find its balance. So if you only do the one side, moisture is going to come into here, and eventually it'll gravitate and either do some funky warping of your plank, your wood or whatever. And worst case scenario is your paint can start to bubble, and you don't want that. So you put a coat of sealer on both sides, and that will help mitigate that problem for the most part. Nothing's 100% perfect, but it's that they do it from the factory. They put a coat of that on, and that way you kind of help, like I said, greatly mitigate or reduce that type of wicking problem. Now, I used this product here. I don't know. Once again, if you want to work with a good, local paint store, find somebody that's knowledgeable. Oop, that's the French side. The store I'm working with, they're the owners as well, and they've been in business a long time. So anyway, here's an all-in-one primer, sealer, undercoater, stain killer. Hopefully you don't have any stain on your woods, but I guess it also covers up stains, which I guess is a good thing. Something like kind of like silver paint, covers up a lot of imperfections. Now, the other thing I also did when I put the casings together is what I'll call this the sill plate. Is I don't know if you can see it here, but I put it on a bit of an angle down. Okay, the reason is if this window were inset and was inside here, you'd have a sill going out that way, and you always want to have your sill for on the outside. And you see that in brickwork, they have the sills, any kind of sill, it's always sloping down so that water will run off. Well, here, of course, I'm not, shouldn't be concerned about water, but you never know, and should anything happen, let's say you have a planter on here, stand on here or whatever, and you're watering a little bit of water. As long as this wood is properly painted and sealed, in the final thing, whatnot, water, your trim is sealed up here, water should then just kind of roll off and not have a tendency of sitting there. So I just want that little extra, not necessary. Most people just do it straight. It comes from the factory straight, if you have them put it in. So once again, when you're doing something custom, you can do things like that. Now, the other thing is, okay, so my next step after that was, once the painting was done, reinsert them back in, and then, of course, use the this window's not done yet. Use the plywood, and here it's not quite. I'll have to shove it in a bit. And so what I did is I drilled 4 1/8-inch holes on the windows. Okay, and they're not there to really hold the casing in. It's there to hold it in place until I get the rest of the spray foam in, because the spray foam will hold it there. This is just to hold it from going in and out until all that spray foam is in place. And so once the nails are knocked in, and this window over here I have set. Okay, I've already gone around and put the 1/2-inch plywood up against here, and I got it flush. So I've already got these nails set. So this window here is not going to move in and out. And then this window over here, I have pretty much, it's pretty much finished. Now, of course, I still have to go around and finish painting the face of it here, and then a little bit here. It's already painted up here, but this one's already set. Got them hammered in. Now I'm going to take a nail punch and just countersink that a bit, and then I'll go around and just put a little bit of wood putty in there, and then sand that down, and then finish it off, and then give it, and then everything will be in place. Now I've already put another layer of spray foam in here, and unlike my door, which expanded incredibly, this I didn't put as much in here, and it didn't expand as far as I thought it would, but that's fine. So I'll go another pass, but I want to make sure with this spray foam, this low expanding spray foam, I'm past that 2-inch, 2.5-inch continuous foam layer I have all the way around, so that it's all connected. So therefore I have as much of a monolithic insulation scenario as I possibly can have. And really the only thermal drift that I will have is basically through my windows and through my door frames and the doors. That'll be really the only place where I'll have any thermal drift, of course, through your windows, but the actual thermal drift will only be, through that. Will be some through this wood here, possibly, because you're still connected to the vinyl here. So, some cold can pass this way, but, it's, once again, where's that point of no return? You have to have the heating system come on sometime, I guess, or, nothing's going, it's just going to get stagnant in here. I don't know. And then my big window up here, I'm not up on my big window, but my fancy one. Luckily, being it's a 312 kind of pitch, I was able to, where am I here? There we go. This here's a 15-degree cut. So I was able to cut all those at 15 degrees on both sides, and do the traditional, butt joints there. And that actually went together pretty good. Now, I had to take some of the material that came in 6-inch in width. Some, when I measured the one window up, I went, okay, everything's going to be 6 inches. But then when I started the project, some were at 5 3/4, 5 7/8, and I'm going, oh, wow. So I had to, I'm going, how the heck am I going to cut that? Can't do that with a skill saw, do it properly. So I just went out and I bought a, I'm not going to say it's anything high-end, but just a decent portable 10-inch table saw. Nothing fancy about it. Up here, I guess, decent enough deal. I couldn't get this one on sale. I guess they just don't go on sale. So, but I picked it up for $300 out the door, and it's already been worth its weight in gold. It does a really nice job. I'm actually quite surprised on how even it cuts and how straight it cuts. Normally when you get into the lower end stuff like this, the quality, especially of the fence, and this, even though it might be just a rudimentary fence, the blade from here to here and back here, you tighten down the, tighten her down in place, and it's awesome. It did a pretty good job. Now, so for this project, that, of course, I've had this miter saw now for 3 years, and I picked it up at a box store, and lo and behold, for some reason, they had it marked down for half price. Now, yes, it's a DeWalt. It's a 12-inch telescoping jobby. It has every doggone angle which way you can do with this thing. Did I need this much of a saw? No, but I'm glad I did get it, because it allows me to do things like cut the angles of the wood. Of the wood here on here. I mean, this here is a full 6 inches, and I still have, that's 6 inches of throat basically. So I could almost put 7 inches in there, and telescoping and whatnot. It's been really, really handy. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to do trim work and whatnot, but just if you have time, just be cautious of deals, sales, and all that kind of stuff, and you can get yourself some decent tools. Now, the only other tool that, and I've had this one a while too, because I've done other trim work for others, is just get yourself a decent air-driven brad nailer. Okay, I probably paid double the price over just what rudimentary one that I would have needed just to do this little project, but it's something that's going to stay in the family for a while, I guess you could say, and it works really, really well. So now I also put a couple of braces on that window up there, because the first time I pulled it out, it sagged. So I figured, before I pull it out again to paint it, and I'll put them in, so when I pull it out, it'll keep its shape. And then when I put it back in and up in here, I don't know how if the paint fills in the gap, so be it. If not, I might have to put a little bit of the wood filler in there, maybe a bit. But, that's no big deal. And I made a boo-boo. That there, I got in my zeal of going, oh yeah, I got this all together. I forgot to cut it down to depth. So, I'm not going to take it apart, because I won't be able to cut it anyway, because all the nails are in there. So I'm going to have to, once I get it in place, take the plywood, strips of plywood, nail them in, and then take a belt sander and then sand it down to the depth so it's flush for the drywall. Yeah, I gave myself a little bit more work, but when you get all excited and everything, things are going good, you always miss something, so Lots of fun. So that's kind of where that's at as far as the casings go and whatnot. You know, I was actually quite kind of surprised. It only took me a day and a half to get everything all in place and you know, all the built in place. You know, and it's fun. Like, well, probably about 10 hours, I guess, altogether. Once I got going. So that you know, and working with the wood like this, the trimming out. This is the fun. It's kind of fun. You know, a little more precise and whatnot. So that's where that's at you know, at this point in juncture. Now, the shower base is still sitting there drying. I haven't touched anything with it for a good 4 days. Let's see now. Yeah, good 4 days. A good 4 days. Yeah, since I put the cement down, and it'll be another couple days before I pull all the weights off, and then of course then go around. I'll show you that. I'll show you that process when I get there. Still have the plumbing to do and whatnot, and then from here on in, it's getting ready for the drywall stage. I still have to cut in between here, cut that out for my air return for the furnace. Cut out this piece of blocking and whatnot. The ceiling got insulated a few days ago, and what a difference, I tell you. I remember the neighbor next door. He's got a big truck over there. You can hear it start up, and you know, but once it's insulated in here, I was quite surprised because a couple of days ago they were over there chopping down a tree, and chainsaw was going, and I didn't even hear them. I didn't realize it until I looked over and going, chainsaw's running, and very quiet in here. So once the drywall goes on, this little humble abode should be very, very quiet. Spray foam does a great job of attenuating that, even though I was reading that spray foam doesn't do quite the same job of attenuating sound as, say, the Roxol does. But with the foam on the outside and this foam here and the thickness of the foam, I have to kind of query that line of thinking there, because I can see it if it's only maybe a couple of inches, but with the 5.5 or so that I have in here and the 1 inch of foam on the outside, that the sound deadening qualities is very good. I got a good 16 inches of up there, and I'd show you, but it's really dark up there now. So you know, so there's not much to see. So what I've got left is to get ready. I've got a little bit of electrical to finish up. You know, just kind of put my low voltage wires out for my lighting in the upper cabinets, cabinets, you know, the under counter lighting and the kick plate lighting. I still have some blocking to put across for the upper cabinets, and one line for the and one row for the lower cabinets. Basically, like I did over here, I didn't do any lower cabinet blocking here because I just got so many studs available. And I put some, you know, once again, the blocking up there for the upper cabinets. That's where the fan goes, pretty heavy fan, so I'll make sure that's blocked in really well. And then just go around and start doing a general cleanup and get ready for getting the drywall delivered. And just getting ready for the drywall, guys. So that'll take them 7 working days, so a good week and a half. So I won't be doing anything up here for a week and a half, which is fine with me. Got lots of other stuff to do. Got the yard work to do, and still got the basement to do. So while they're doing this here, I can concentrate on other things. And also, I'm going to be putting in a couple of outlets for central vacuum. I put one here in the foyer area, I guess you could call it, you know, the entrance area. And then I'm going to put another one back here in the hallway. I'll pop one down, you know, somewhere in this area. Oh, sorry, somewhere in this area here. Pop one down with just a chunk of you know, 18 2LVT wire. It's going to be roughed in. I'm not saying I'll ever put in central vac, but if I do, it's there, because if you put it in, drywall goes in, you go, ah, man. So for a lousy $50, I think it cost me in parts and whatnot, well worth the money, because it's there, and you just put your plate on. It looks false, even though there's nothing working. It's all good. And then there'd be other things that I'll probably try and figure out, I also want, because I'm going with an electric water heater, I'm going to be putting in a timer, a mechanical timer in the basement for the water heater, so that it only comes on maximum 3 hours a day. I'll super insulate around it so it holds water for 2 people. That's more than plenty of water, instead of having the heater working all the time. And at the same time, looking at the cost of, and that's the water, it's a 40-gallon water heater right over there. The cost of putting in I would have to put in a power vented gas water heater. That there's $400, and I can easily wire that in for almost what maybe not even $40 over a 40-gallon or a 50-gallon power vented water heater, natural gas water heater, which I'm looking at have to look at a minimum of $1,500 to $1,600. So that's quite a difference, and there's a lot, you still got to use energy. So you put this on a timer, you retain the heat, and you're not using it all the time. And that's where I was going back to. I'm going to put an override, because I'm going to put that timer on a contactor, so that it actually brings a contactor in to turn the water heater on. And then I'm going to put a timer, I'm going to put a timer up in here, so that just above the light switch for the bathroom fan and the light, put a timer up here, manual timer, so I can, if I need to override it for 30 minutes, say I want to do a load of wash, I think, I might not have enough hot water. That way, whatever hot water I use, turn it on, heater on for 30 minutes or whatever, just to bring that back up the temperature. Overall, I don't think could ever see an ROI with a gas water heater compared to an electric. They'll both line up the same, depending on what kind of, if you put a water softener in, which I'm not going to do. Just going to take out whatever, I just put in a iron filter or whatever like that. Just take out, if I have a little bit of iron in the water. And that's about it. So, and as long as you drain your water heater once a year, make sure and keep it in good condition, it'll last you. I've had, water heaters last 15 plus years, and not doing anything with them. And that's the reason why they fail, is because they get sediment inside them, and then they fail. So may never have to worry about it. So for $400 compared to $1,600, yeah, the ROI is not there. So in the long run, I'll be better off with an electric water heater. So yeah, there's your little tidbit for the day, for those of you trying to decide. If you got a big family, if I had a large family, whatever, big house, yeah, I would go with a gas water heater. It's then worth its while, but you have to look at your situation. I mean, this is a small house. It's only really a 2-person house, maximum 3, and you'll never get your money back out of a gas water heater compared to the electric. Even if you had to buy that twice over a 20-year period, replace it in 10 years, and then replace it again. And with the amount of energy it used, you still never see your return on investment, because the gas water heater would probably fail the same way mechanically due to sediment. So once I still have to put the blocking, like I said, the blocking across here, and finish up some odds and ends, and I should be good to go and ready to rock and roll. So until next time we meet, as if we've met already. Mr. Happy Zap saying, keep a cool tool, and we'll yak at you later. Bye for now.